Hi,
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, Sai.
Thank you for accepting my request and accepting to be on my show.
Of course. Thanks for talking to me. I've never been to India, but man, it's cool to talk to you.
You can see India.
Yeah, it's cool.
So, I thought to tell about you to my audience. I
Okay.
thought that they will learn something from your experience.
I've had quite a few experiences. Yeah, that's for sure. Uh,
So,
do you want me to talk about my military experience, or do you want me to? I have a book coming out. I can talk about that as well.
we'll talk about everything.
Okay.
So, before that, I want to tell about you to my audience.
Okay.
So, Aaron Lee Marshall was born in Norway, Maine, in January of 1982. He was raised to play sports but always loved writing and did not dive into arts and music until after high school, where he scored 1,044 career points in basketball. He then went to college at Plymouth State University on an academic scholarship and was majoring in philosophy when September 11, 2001 happened. He then joined the army and sent over to Iraq in 2004 as a military police officer attached to the 1st Infantry Division. While there, he earned the Purple Head for wounds received in action, Strep- shrapnel from a anti-tank rocket exploding on my position, as well as Army Commendation Medal with Valor. After the war, he began a 10-year musical career as a lead singer and guitarist for the creatively called Aaron Lee, lead singer and guitarist for the creatively called Aaron Lee Marshall Band, which featured his cousin Alex Mills on drums and Darren Finnegan on bass. In 2010, he was named one of the top selling independent artists in the state of Maine according to the Down East magazine, and by 2020 he was number 13 on the best-selling independent artist of the decade according to the Bull Music in Portland, Maine. Retiring from music in January 2020, he once again started focusing on his writing and he released Vacuum Bones and Blood as an unfinished rough draft after making people wait so long already for a version. He had been working on it for 15 years and now on April 20, 2021 finished the finished hardcover release of Bakuba Bones and Blood will be available for the first time. uh, he currently lives with his wife Laura and has four children. Has four children. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, four children and name Grace, Jillian, Emily, and Michael. And I saw the certificate of yours, Department of Army.
Yeah.
So, this is briefly about Aaron Lee Marshall. So thank you very much, sir. You are into multiple fields in your life, and this is really amazing. You are multi talented.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Sai. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for reading. Reading that about me. Yeah, I originally I was like played sports my whole life, like as a kid, and then I was never happy, and I always loved music. Always I loved making stories on my typewriter. My mom had a typewriter, and I'd make stories on it, and so I always stayed in love with writing. And luckily, when I left high school, I just dove into playing guitar, which is completely opposite of basketball and sports. But that's where my heart's always been, is in the arts, music and art. I paint as well. So creatively, that's where my heart is.
So piano playing and coming into
Actually,
basketball.
I don't play piano. My daughter plays piano. I have a 16-year-old daughter that's insanely talented. Yeah.
So you are a sportsman too.
I used to be. I'm not anymore. I mean, like I play basketball outside. I do some. I volunteer to coach for my son's t-ball. But that's as far as sports go. There's too many books to read, too many movies to watch, too many video games to play. Uh, you know.
So tell me about your journey in your own words.
Oh man. Well, it's been a journey of perseverance, adversity. I honestly, I didn't think I was going to make it to where I am. So many different times in my life, I wanted to give up and just stop. And now, most days, I'll be honest, I feel like this is a dream. Like my life I'm so happy. It's really strange to me because I was so unhappy for so long. So, it's just, I feel like I died in the war 20 years ago, and this is just some kind of dream I'm living right now. So, but it's a story of just keeping going. And like I said, books have always been a part of my life. And whenever I've gotten down, I've turned to them. Some of those artists or writers, Ralph Waldo Emerson is a favorite of mine. Henry David Thoreau, Walt Whitman, Edgar Allan Poe, um, Charles Bukowski. He's one of my favorite poets. He's a very American poet. Um, so, my whole story, I think, is just one of everyone's story. Because I think we all face trauma in our lives. We all go through terrible stuff, man, all of us. So I think it's just important to be nice, be kind, and, share your energy with the world.
You have to say how you started everything.
Oh man, that which part of my journey?
Like Inesha, I already explained about you to the world in your own words uh, in short time. So you already said that you was into high school and you was a guitarist
Oh yeah,
and
yeah. Sorry, dude. And yeah, so then I went into I was in at Plymouth State University, majoring in philosophy. September 11th happened, and I signed up for the army. I dropped out of school and joined the army and went right over to Iraq and served. And I didn't necessarily sign up to like see action, but I definitely saw more than my fair share over there. I received the Purple Heart as you said and stuff, and Arcom with Valor, and it was a wild experience. But after that, I got out and I immediately started playing music. So I switched gears from I was a machine gunner in the turret of a Humvee as a police officer in the military. And then I took care of my oldest daughter for a couple of years as a stay-at-home dad. So I traded my machine guns in for baby bottles and pacifiers. That was a wild change. I went back to school. I got an accounting degree at night, and I went. I actually just started playing on the road a lot around, Boston and Connecticut and Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Rhode Island, and yeah, I even down Washington D.C. I'd go down, fly down there and play. And I was on the Orange County Choppers show. I did a show down there in New York one time. So I for 10 years I did music, but paired with that, I was a raging alcoholic for a decade as well. So that wasn't good on for me or anyone around me. So I ended up getting pancreatitis at when I was 32. This is about 7 years ago, and that stopped my drinking, thankfully, in its tracks, and I haven't drank since. So I've been 7 years sober. It's been incredible just to make it where I am, and so then after that, I stopped playing music and I got back into writing my book. It's something I've got a hardcover copy here, but something I'd always loved doing. I wanted to share my experience. Originally, I loved Hunter Thompson. I was a big Hunter S. Thompson fan. I don't know if you've heard of him. You're all fearing. No. All right. Well, I'll just keep talking anyway. Or you want me to keep it short? Okay. So I was a big Hunter S. Thompson fan, and I actually, when I was over in Iraq, I have. I'll show you this. This is pretty cool. This little tape recorder. So there's this little tape recorder here, and my wife had sent it to me. She was pregnant, and so she put my daughter's heartbeat on this and sent it to me over in the war zone. So I had extra tapes, and I recorded interactions with the soldiers and stuff. I took one of my ammo pouches out, and I put this in, and I just let it record. And so I have hours and hours of tape from the war zone, and that I tried to base my book off, but I ended up doing something completely different. And then I got into doing graphic novels. So there's graphic novels in the book as well. So it's like a memoir, but in the middle there's graphic novels. So I'm all over the place creatively, but as a work of art, it's definitely one solid thing. But now I'm just focusing on pushing this book and getting the book out there.
Can I say most of your life you have used your body and now you shifted uh, to the mind?
Yeah, not by choice. I think my body is just gave out on me after a while. It just stopped participating in life. So I'm like, well, it was a big shift, going full speed my whole life, and then luckily, when I was a kid, my parents were divorced, so I lived with my father. But on the weekends, I went with my mother, and she was always, letting me play, like play with music and arts and draw and stuff like that. So I had that creative outlet. So I always had that creative side. I just never let it flourish, until I got older. I could decide myself what I wanted to do, and I just dove headfirst into the arts because that's where I've been happiest in life. No matter what I've done, if I'm creating, I'm happy. I'm at peace. So.
Are you a creative thinker even if you was in army?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know how to exactly say it, but when there's sections of my book that are in italics, and the italic sections I say are dreams or memories, and I say dreams or memories because there might be some illegal stuff that I did that I don't necessarily want to say, so I say that like that. So like not super like I for example allegedly smuggled marijuana into Iraq, um, just for personal use, but stuff like that. That's in the and it's a raw story. I tell it exactly how it is, and it's an anti-war book. It's a very anti-war book, but I don't try to really put that tone into it. I just try to let it speak for itself, let the experience speak for itself.
So when this writing started in your life, when you started writing, and what made you to express your thoughts using your words?
Oh man. Well, I had a typewriter at my mom's house that I loved playing with. I was fast. I thought it was cool. This was. I mean, I'm old. I'm 39, so this is before the internet. So I don't know if people even know what a typewriter is, but it's this old metal machine and a clunky. Puts ink actually on paper. Uh, and if you made a mistake, you had to actually have this little whiteout stuff, and you put it on it, dry it off, and fix. It's crazy, man. It's ancient. Uh, so yeah, that's when I started, I think, and I actually still have a story that I wrote when I was like 12. This is 1994 on the typewriter. I still have it. It's like 6 pages long. It's called The Rebel, and it's all about this like gunfighting, maniac basically. So I read it and I'm like, this is insane. Like I basically described PTSD as a 12-year-old, but I never believed in PTSD until I went to war and experienced war and realized that no, it actually is real. Um, so that's just another facet of that whole experience.
So what you wrote first?
Um, I originally wrote Bakuba Bones and Blood um, under a different name, and then I did the graphic novels and sandwiched them together.
So you said that in April of this year, one of your book is going to be released. What is it about?
It is basically a memoir about. Actually, let me do this. I can read you the. I have this message for anyone that reads the book in the front, uh, and I think it's. I think it sums up what the whole book is about, really. If you don't mind if I read it, it says, "A message for you. In 2004, 2005, I was one of the first American soldiers at the scene of 3 suicide bomb attacks, which killed at least 95 people and wounded hundreds more. I hope standing next to my psyche as I retell numerous traumatic events from the front lines of the Iraq War opens up your mind. My goal is to convince anyone who needs convincing that life is worth living and everything will be okay. We all go through some sort of trauma. Maybe you think what happened to me is far worse than your traumatic experiences. But I think that's the trick to recovering from trauma, the realization that others have been through far worse and have still led productive, meaningful, and happy lives. Others have also been through less and died. I truly didn't feel like I had any right to publish a book because of that worthless feeling anyone who has ever experienced trauma. And if you're in that place or perhaps are there now, know that I have felt that too. You are not alone, and this book is my proof. So my book basically I want to just help people. That's the basis behind it. I'm hoping it gets into the hands of a child like I was. I didn't have a great role model in my life, a male role model. So I'm hoping it gets into the hands of uh, somebody in the same circumstances or worse that I had, and helps them out, helps them in life.
So tell me about the toughest situations that you faced as a soldier.
Oh, so much. I mean, there was so many, and I actually I talk a lot of about humorous things in this thing too. I don't just talk about blood and gore and stuff. Like I don't even go into there was VBID that went off, a suicide bomb that went off and killed 72 people in June of 2004. And I don't talk about that at all. I don't go into detail about that. I just talk about what I remember is when it went off. I was standing about 400 meters from it, and we're all standing in a circle. And when it went off, it was just I had this feeling of like the world was going to end, and then my vision just went black, and my memory shuts off like a light switch. And I don't remember anything else from that day, so I don't write about it. I write about a lot of humorous interactions between friends uh, that I made while I was there. I had a lot of Iraqi friends that I made by they hypothetically bought me some whiskey while I was there. So uh, we shared a lot of whiskey and weed together. So that's something that I talk about in the book. Um, it's a very unusual book just because I talk about things that people don't normally talk about. I don't keep the terrible things that I did out and to make myself look better. I just say it like it was and let people decide, for themselves, what war would be like for them. Because I think war could affect any of us. We're all in this together, and good people need to stick together. So, that's my message of my time served in the military, and everything that happened, I think, happened for a reason. So,
So I'm sure there'll be situations in your life as a soldier, in which you felt like you're weak.
or I felt like I was weak.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh,
fear, weak.
so how
Yeah.
you how you came out, how you managed yourself to become strong.
Well, if you want to become something, the best way is to do it. So, and that's, I mean, Aristotle talks about that in the Nicomachean Ethics. He talks about if you want to be a brave man, you need to do brave things. So I joined the army. Uh, that's what brave people do. Uh, you know, and I was good, and they put me on the machine gun, and I was good on that, and I I acted like I was a big badass tough guy, and I was not, man. I was scared a lot of the time. But if you looked at me, I would look like a mean son of a bitch. But inside, I was still that same person as when I was a little kid. I could picture myself being a little kid, being scared about something. Same thing, that doesn't change. So yeah, you just deal with it. You just push on. We I dealt with it big time by laughing about it, making horrible jokes about the terrible things, and I didn't realize that was how I was handling the dealing with the trauma. I didn't even get it for the longest time.
I'm talking with a brave person. I'm brave too.
You are. I can see it.
So so you converted your experience, and you wanted your experience to reach some people, and so that something that they can get and something that they can take from it.
Yeah, would basically if you're gonna take anything, man, I wrote something last night. I wish I had it, but um, man, it would be never give up. Honestly, that's how I've been feeling lately. As it is, there was so many times I could have given up on life, just given up and been like, I'm not worth it, and but you have to keep telling yourself that life is worth it. Life is good. It gets so much better too. Like I mean, it's insane how good life gets once you really focus your energy in the right direction. Like yourself, you're reaching out to people and you're interviewing people. I mean, that's incredibly cool. You should be proud of yourself. I imagine you are. I don't do that, so I wouldn't know, but I imagine that you feel good about yourself for reaching out to people and just having conversations. I think that's a really cool thing. So,
So what are the best things that you like in yourself, and that drives you every day, and that drives you from all your in all your life, and that is still makes you wake up in the morning every day.
one thing that drives me, that would have to be love. Without sounding corny, that's what it is. Love drives me. Benevolence. Uh, I'm not religious at all, but I do believe in love, and I think that is what is the basis of what drives me. When I wake up in the morning, there's so many things that I want to do in the day, and I get excited, and I haven't felt that way in a long time. And I think it all comes down to love, and where that comes from is I was lucky enough to have a mother that showed me unending amounts of love as a child, and luckily that stuck with me, and it never that never died, and it drives me every day. And now, I mean, and that just snowballs into bigger and better things. My children drive me as well. You know, my son keeps me laughing 24/7. He's like a little comedian, you know, and there's just so many good things that happen. So, you know, I would have to say love, man. That's what drives me. I think that's what drives all of us. If we really think about why we're doing what we're doing, like what's the reason behind that reason, you know, it's because we love doing it. Hopefully that's why. Hopefully it's love. You have to do things sometimes you don't love, but you know, that's the ideal, I think.
You are into different positions, right? So you was a soldier at a particular time, and you was a guitarist at a particular time, and you was a sportsman at a particular time, and you are the son of a mother, and now you are husband of a woman, and you are son of you are father of 4 children. So you are into so many different positions, right? What do you say about yourself?
What do I say about myself?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I might have like undiagnosed ADHD. That's what it sounds like, right? Can't can't make up my mind on what I want to do. I'm like, oh, there's a squirrel, you know. So that was a New England joke. You probably wouldn't get that in India. But
Because each position have its own work, its own job, its
yeah,
own things to do.
skill
So you are
set.
into, right?
Yeah.
So all your life is a mixture of everything.
I get bored really easily. So like one day I wake up and I want to paint. Next day I'm going to write a song. And the next day I'm going to go move stones in my property, or go play in the stream, go for a hike, read a book, write some poetry. There's just, it's endless the amount of things that you can do with your life if you put your mind to it. So
So are you good in writing?
I enjoy reading my writing. So, so yeah, I'd say I am, but no, it's a certain style of writing. Like I really don't give a shit about grammar or, a lot of the grammatical rules of English and stuff like that. I try to more write like there's a lot of art in it, and I I take liberty and with how I phrase things, and um, I don't know. I have a lot of fun doing it, so that's why I do it. And people are buying copies, so I'm gonna keep writing. you know.
So what do you say about the previous books that you have published, and what is the response that you got?
Well, this is my first major work that I've done. I published two other poetry books, philosophical poetry and pictures, and the painter and the writer. Two different works of just poetry. One's poetry and art, and those ones basically I do for myself as well. I get a good response from people, but I think that's not even the point of of doing them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's important.
So writing, what next?
Oh well, right now I am working on a book about a 21-day program to change bad habits, bad behaviors, and subconscious beliefs. I'm on day 7 right now, and I'm just doing a vlog every day, recording myself, my thoughts and what's going on and what I'm doing. I'm trying to meditate every morning, adding yoga in. I'm just trying to like build this program to readjust my all my subconscious beliefs from my childhood that I don't realize that I'm acting on. I'm trying to get rid of those and just focus on. Uh, Basically, I tell myself when I wake up, nothing about you is nothing about today. Uh, Today, nothing is about you. That's what it is. Um, Today is about um, focusing on the people that you love. So I say that to myself and focus on that. And I feel like I've been getting happier every day. Like I just do little happier things. My wife noticed. She's like, you're smiling right now. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you're smiling. She's like, you haven't smiled in 3 days. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't realize that, but people, it has an effect on the people around you. So I'm trying to better myself. So I'm working on that right now. I'm starting it as a vlog, but I will probably make it into a book. Um, Eventually. I'm always doing something. Every day is an adventure, man. So
So you was into a powerful position, army officer. You was
not
a
an officer. I was a specialist.
specialist.
Yeah.
Your job is to
I was a weapons expert.
okay, but still you are into the tough job. It's a hard work. It's not easy.
Well, luckily, my childhood helped me get ready for it. Sports was difficult, man. Like, I have asthma, and so it was crazy that I even joined the military because I have asthma. I couldn't take my inhaler with me. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to be a Marine, but I didn't join the Marines because they had a faster run time. And I was like, well, if I have an asthma attack, I could use the extra couple minutes. I joined the Army. Uh, you know, so
So at last, do you have anything to say to the world who watches this video from anywhere on this planet?
now you can see me at Combat Dads on Instagram, Twitter, Bones and Blood Book. Uh, and I appreciate you reaching out, Si. Thanks for having me on. Message anytime, buddy. It was nice to talk to you.
So I'll put your all your links, your book links and your contact links in the description of this video. People who finds our video on YouTube will can find your books through those
Yeah,
links.
they can also, if they really want my book, just DM me and I'll send you a free PDF. So don't even buy the goddamn thing. Just message me. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, people are listening to it.
Okay.
So at last, have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
You sent me one link, but I have not. I could lie and say, yeah, oh yeah, you're great. No, I haven't. I have not. No.
I did more than 300 videos with 300 different professionals who are from different parts of the world.
Wow. Very cool.
And also army person is there. There are 3 to 4 people who are from American army are there already.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and you are one of the important persons, and this is one of the best videos of mine.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Si. Thanks for having me on. One of my favorite interviews.
So at last, any good words who will be from you that may inspire people or that worked for you, that may make people to do things that they cannot do from
Yeah,
your
actually,
experience?
um, I would like to. I'll end it with one of my favorite quotes, and it's by George Eliot. This quote's by George Eliot, a writer from the 19th century. Uh, it will never rain roses. When we want to have more roses, we must plant more trees. And that means a lot to me. It means a lot. It's a call to action. If you want something to happen, you need to do something about it. You can't just talk about it. If you want something to change, you need to take responsibility for your life and change it. You know. So that would be my message.
That's really true. You said something that 100% works.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving me your valuable time and accepting my request and telling me about yourself.
I appreciate it. Anytime, Sai.
So can I put this clip on my YouTube and on my social media, on internet, on my podcast, everywhere with your
Yeah,
permission?
you have my permission. Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I'll put your books in the description. People who wants to buy, they can buy your book through these links.
Yeah, Barnes and Noble is the best place to do it.
Thank you, sir. Keep doing what you love and keep inspiring people like this.
Thank you. You too. Keep doing what you do.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
All right.